Hey everybody. So I have an analogy that recently helped me a lot. So the one thing in that movie, What the Bleep Do We Know, and everything that I'm learning in the course with Corey, essentially what I'm learning is that until you fully believe and you know that that's the only way, and there's no other, well, maybe it'll happen, or I really want it, but it could happen another way. Until you know that that's the only way it's going to happen in your life, the hows are completely irrelevant. They're always irrelevant, but when it's that and you know, the how doesn't matter, and that doesn't even process in your mind. And an analogy in my life that really helped me was sport, because I've grown up and been raised that sport is deep within me, that I can do anything, that I've played so many sports my whole life, and that goes for buying a house, that goes for acting, that goes for anything that you want in your life, physical or not physical, whether that be trying and going for what you love, or physical like a run or a marathon, whatever that is. So they're all the same. The analogy goes that when I start running, before I start my run, I cannot think of anything that goes on, or even how long it's going to be, or how long it's going to take me, because when I do, it makes me not even want to run. It makes me want to stop, and it makes me sometimes not even want to go. And during the run, it's harder. It feels harder to continue to go, because I started bogging down even before I started it, how it's going to happen, what's going to happen. And when I have that image of the finish line of my house when I get back on my run, that image pulls me through, no matter how much pain, no matter what my mind says. And the law of gender states that everything takes a certain amount of time. Let's say I run a kilometer in 5.5 minutes. I were to run 5K in about just under 30 minutes. Let's say that is the law of gender. That's how long it takes for me to get to the start to the finish. Everything takes time. And that's just like acting for me. It was hard for me to understand or apply that acting is exactly the same as sport. That yes, there's the law of gender, how long it takes. I can't just get from the beginning and think to the end of a race. There has to be a certain amount of time it takes me to get there. And throughout the whole thing, the only thing that will get me through when it's a really, really long race, and I'm stuck in the middle with all that junk of the unknown, oh, am I going to make it? Once you see the finish line, you are certain, you know that you were going to make it, and you're like, oh, why did I not think of this before? How was it so hard before? It's because the finish line was not always in sight. But when you have that clear picture and you have that clear mental image of what the finish line is, and you've refined it, you know everything that's a part of that finish line, and you've shown the universe what that finish line is. It's always there. It's always in front of you. It is always waiting. That is a reality. It's whether or not you have your purpose, whether or not you are going to go through all that junk, and the picture is going to pull you through, because it is such a strong picture and you're so emotionally involved with it, and it's the only thing that you believe. That's the only way your reality is going to happen. All the rest of that stuff does not matter, and that reality is achieved. And that goes for acting. Starting out, I realized I was trying to figure out everything. I was trying to figure out everything that I could possibly run into on the run, that I could possibly run into on the way to acting. And that bogged me down, and not even want to get started, to in between getting so worried and fearful and wanting to stop. And that was like in the middle of a run where I start off and I was thinking about it already, how much I didn't want to do it, or what was going to happen if my leg starts to hurt. And then you start to think about it, and you're thinking about the how you're going to get there, not the end. So that was an analogy for me, that the running and sport, that I know I can do anything in sport, because I'm an unconscious competent in that area of my life, that I know physically I can push myself to do anything. And that's the same with acting. That's the same with anything I want to do, buying a house. It's the same with public speaking. All these things that are my life and my vision, they're all achievable exactly the same way as sport. It is success builds confidence, and confidence builds success. They go hand in hand. Mike Tyson said it, Corey says it, all the successful people. You build success by creating small wins, by doing things that build your confidence, by building a success. Okay, I went to a small little acting class, or I went to a small gig and I had a speaking role. That builds confidence from success. And that confidence builds success because you keep building more and more and more. It's an amazing thing. And that analogy is one that I'm going to keep ingraining into my head until it becomes a part of my subconscious, that I know that no matter what, that my running is exactly the same as my acting and my public speak, my YouTube. These are all truths to my life, and building that belief and knowing that that's exactly the only thing that it's going to go. It's the only way my life is going to happen, is when those things will come into my life quickly to me, because that is the only way that it's going to happen. And the how is irrelevant always. And when you know and you have that belief and faith, and you know 100% with certainty that that's the only thing, there's no other option, there's no other picture in your mind of how that would go, it comes to you. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have an amazing day.